Yeah.
What I mean. What?
Ow.
So during the Iteration 5 build, I was working on a turret chain, which helps us organize the motor wires and different wires for the sensors that we have on our robot. It's a pretty crucial part. It's not just a turret. There's a lot more involved to keep it organized, keep it working well. So I accomplished a working prototype. Even though I faced a lot of struggles, we had to do a lot of reprinting, a lot of rebuilding, and it's still not fully complete. But I'm gradually working on it, and I'm proud that I'm being able to do this. And my team has been supporting me through this.
In Iteration 5, I was able to create the intake and transfer and have it all mounted with only one motor. I was also able to make the intake smaller and therefore be able to run at like a higher motor speed. I feel like one big challenge was definitely like with the calculations, as like since it's all powered with one motor, I had to use like belt calculations, which I found pretty difficult.
What I accomplished was the turret, the ramp, the drum. So basically the transfer channel, I guess you could call it. And then including that was the transfer plate that held the two transfers. And then that all leads up to the turret with the main plate. And I had to do a lot of math and also use the numbers to see how everything lines up, including visually seeing how the assembly lines up in CAD. The main challenge I would definitely say is keeping track of everything. Although there were big problems like the ball not being able to line up properly, going from the transfer to the turret, I think that was all because of me not keeping track of everything. But since it was, I think, my first time managing all these variables, it's definitely a big challenge because a lot of the times I actually did measure from the wrong point, which led to me sitting there wondering why it all didn't work, even though all the dimensions for other parts were all correct. I think it definitely proved on winter break or during winter break. I think the team also grew a lot more comfortable together during those meetings, as it's like outside of a school context. But I think, especially since it's more challenging, you're gonna need to depend on others a lot more, because for earlier iterations, I could probably step in with the intake a lot more. But this time I had to trust Chris a lot with the belt, or I did help with the belt, but the intake with the transfers and making trusting him with all the dimensions. And then also working with Artem on the chainring, there was a lot of times where the chainring it would interfere with the turret, so there was a lot of communication on, can I cut this, like can I make this cut out here? Will it affect anything? And but we didn't end up using it, but I think it was still good.
I thought we were working together really well. I liked that it was just casual in the end. Like I'd expected it to be a lot more stressful. Like we come over to the house, we have like an intense build session, but we ended up having a pretty easy day. It doesn't really feel like 3 hours. We get through it pretty quickly. We get everything done, and then we just have to clean up, and it feels pretty relaxed actually.
What I've taken away is that to not be afraid to ask help, whether it's like with like clarification on certain directions or just like with designs in general. Also to be creative with your designs, like not always to try to base it off like prior designs and to like try to make your own.
So what I took away from this building process is that you're always going to make mistakes, and you just have to accept that. There's certain struggles that you're going to face, especially with a system as complicated as mine. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of mechanical elements. So it's going to take some reprinting, some filing, some polishing, but you can get through it. You can have a good working prototype.
So what I took away was definitely use GitHub to first name your constraints and requirements, so it's easier to identify which constraints you have to definitely keep track of. Takeaways are definitely the numbers don't lie, but also use your eyes when you visually see in the assembly. I think that's how I identified many of my problems, just because once I finished changing a part and its dimensions, I would go into the assembly and check, and then I would notice that this one little part of the arc stuck out, and that led me to two other problems that I solved instead of wondering why it didn't work later. Also, creating a model assembly, it's a bit more time consuming because you basically have to redo your progress, but you're able to isolate all the parts instead of having all, like in the main assembly, you have all the parts you need, like you have on the actual bot, but that model assembly helps kind of isolate the parts you really need.
What I'm looking forward to in the Norfolk qualifier is definitely to see our turret work, because it's just an abstract idea. Like, I've seen the turret fire a couple of times, obviously, but it's still really exciting because our whole robot used to rely on the whole idea of turning in order to shoot into the baskets, but now we've got this completely new design that a lot of teams are also using, that's going to revolutionize our strategy.
I look forward to more just seeing how our bot compares to like other bots in the area, because I feel like that the comps give like good benchmarking of where our bot performs. So I feel like that'd be a good learning experience.
I think I look forward to seeing our actual bot perform. I spent a lot of time on during winter break. It was basically like having school again, but with robotics. But so if I spent that much time on this robot, I would really like to see how it actually performs and how well it actually performs. To see like, because then you know all that time you spent on CAD and waiting for prints, you can see on the field that where it's actually winning, where it's actually scoring. So it's like a validation sort of.
I think I am super proud of everything they've accomplished because, I mean, like you said, it's a completely different bot and it's within the span of 3 weeks and it's nothing short of an incredible achievement. And it really shows, I think, all the dedication, all the motivation that everyone on our team has to really take that next step. And I'm really proud and really happy to see that everyone on our team is willingly doing this. There's no one pushing them. There's no one asking them to make this step. It's all them wanting to take that next step, and it's really rewarding to see that.